This is crazy that I'm here as a speaker. I came here many years ago as someone to learn about animal welfare. When I started this in Pakistan about 10 years ago, it's actually our 10-year anniversary this year, there is no animal welfare in Pakistan. There are no animal rights. There's absolutely nothing for animals in my country. I actually lived in Pakistan till I was about, I think one thing was wrong in the introduction. I lived there till I went to college. And when I was a child, I would see all of the abuse and the violence over there. And every time I would ask a question about it, it would just be like, well, that's the way it is. This is normal. This is how it should be. And I always thought, no, I don't agree with that. I don't think that is accurate. So yes, it's true. I'm a therapist. I was a journalist. And I just decided, I reached a sort of a crossroads where I was like, I have to decide, do I want to stay back and live a very glamorous life, which I was in London, or am I going to move back to my home country? And am I going to try to do the impossible as such over there? And everyone said I was crazy. Everyone said that this was not going to work. But, you know, if you don't try something, then you never know what's going to happen. And I was very young. I was very naive. I was only 24 years old. I didn't know what I was getting into. I had no plan. I had no goal. I had no idea. I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to start something. I'm just going to start. So I started, and eventually something like this, we have a mobile clinic that goes around. We have two of them that go around Karachi, which is the 6th largest city in the world, and the largest one in Pakistan. And we try to show pictures of people who look like those in Pakistan, connecting with animals so that, you know, visually, so I'm using my therapy over here, visually this makes such an impact on the road. It's free education without really trying hard. It's literally one sticker, and this van goes all over the city. So it's a very good way of actually just instilling that idea in someone's head. So I'm going to share a few videos with you as I go along. How I started animal welfare in Pakistan. I was like, look, I know no one is going to help me. I know I'm not going to get any corporate funding. I know I just had my own money. I was working 5 jobs when I started, and I would just try to do whatever I could. I had a volunteer vet, and I had 4 dogs, and I used to go outside of Karachi, which is my home city, and I'd go there alone, which is not safe as a young woman in Pakistan to do something like this. But I was a very reckless young woman. But yeah, I just started, and I started by telling stories on social media. And at that time, there was only Facebook. There wasn't even any Instagram. But I'm just sharing a few videos. Could you press play, please? Yeah? I don't know if I can do it from here. So we can just have these in the background. So, sorry, I don't know. Are we good? I'm going to give you a rough idea because I know the clock is ticking. But every time we get an abuse case, now that we've gained a lot of popularity on social media, people now call us. We have a helpline number that people can call every day and report rescues to us. And our vans go out and we rescue animals from all over Karachi. So this is one of the rescues that we literally go in the middle of nowhere. And there were puppies and dogs, and they were all tied up, and they were gagged. And we went and we found them. And so we don't just see something on social media, we act at the same time. And I make it a point that in real time, we show the way we act as well. Sorry, one second. Is the video working? Yeah? Okay. And I don't think
so. We are still searching for those dogs.
So, all right, I'll just carry on, I guess. These are, whenever I get a chance, or whenever you get a chance to go on our social media, please have a look. We have some insane stories, and the kind of work we do. What's also really important is that this is a completely female-led organization. So these are all women going to all of these areas, and that's how we don't just, this is what's the beauty of using social media to bring about change. The way we do is that we don't just talk about, say, even feminism or animal welfare. We literally show it by example, by actually going out in the areas and doing the work. So this is just a little idea about the kind of work that we do. the kind of rescues, the struggle that we've gone through. So we show everything essentially. And what I do, I think what the strongest way of bringing about change is storytelling. How powerful your storytelling skills are. And that's something that I harnessed over time because everyone likes to hear a story. And stories are the best way to actually bring about change with such strong visuals at the same time. It's like who wouldn't be engrossed? So even those people who don't like animals, which many of them don't, honestly, to date, but they're so intrigued by the stories that we share that they can't help but be like, what happened next? Did you manage to get the dogs? Or did you manage to save this animal? So this is a really big part of our work. I'm going to skip over. This is another video that I'd like to share. Is where this man, he actually filmed himself hanging a dog. We're not going to show that. We're simply going to show this is the first time the police picked up someone just because we posted this on our social media. This is the first time a criminal charge was put on this man. And then our team goes back to the area where he hanged the dog that was being filmed, and boys were laughing while they were filming it. And we were educating the people in that area as to what the right way of dealing with animals is or how to act with them. And again, this is a woman working at my organization, and people are so shocked to see women out there in the public space where you don't often see women, going about talking about animals, which is what makes the work extra hard, which is why we have been through so many obstacles to overcome. Like this gentleman over here, he's too busy asking for my manager's number as opposed to trying to find out what we're talking about. So these sort of obstacles are something we face daily. We, again, run only on donations, and the donations we get are through social media. We have a sanctuary. I decided the way to actually start this is because I need to show a little bit of the work by actually making a place for people to visit, for people to have some sort of consistent image in their head that, okay, there is a platform in Pakistan where if you go, you'll see positive images of animals. So I kind of try to use the human psyche to understand how to go about it. And so our sanctuary now is very popular in Karachi, in Pakistan. People know about us, people visit us, schools visit us, students, volunteers, we have the whole bunch. Could you press play, please? Again, yeah. We have about 750 dogs who live with us. We have about we have 1,000 animals plus. So we have dogs and cats and donkeys and cows and sheep and goats and eagles and monkeys. So I've tried to increase our space as and when required. Again, solely through donations that we get via our storytelling on social media, which is how we actually brought about some form of animal welfare. So we have very compelling stories as well. Our team, the team that I've luckily got together, are very brave. There was a dog and there were 2 cats stuck in a well that was about 18 feet deep. And my heroic boys, we don't have the fire station helping us out or anything like that. We make our own harnesses and we jump into wells and we rescue animals. So when you put up things like this on social media in Pakistan, they go viral, and they're seeing that this team is so dedicated to bringing about this kind of a change, that there must be something in this cause. That even if you don't like animals, you are so moved by the dedication of the people who actually are part of our work. So what's really important is also building a team who thinks like you, the way I've been fortunate enough to do over the past 10 years. So another thing, over here, what's really important is we got to change the mindsets of people as well, right? This is the idea of what people think dogs are. They think dogs are these scary animals that all have rabies, and dogs are still culled, in the masses constantly. But we try to change stereotypes by actually showing, okay, this dog was complained about in this area. So we want to see this dog, and we showed it on social media that, hang on, you put it in the news that this dog is scary? Are you joking right now? So we kind of, got to turn the story around. So we got to act really fast to make it a point that we can stop that story before it goes viral. So my team is on it immediately. And we've all become experts in just documenting everything. And then I just post it, and that's how we try to stop the media, stop the culling. And this is essentially what we've done. There are women over here now, they take care of the stray dogs. People have started calling us for neutering and vaccinating dogs in the area. We collar them, they take care of them, and we've made this entire new concept of neighborhood rescued animals that never really existed in Pakistan to begin with. This is another manager who works with me, where she's talking with a group of men. This is such a powerful image because, again, this is mostly women who are going and trying to convince people through being empathetic towards being kind to actually not kill animals. Whereas this gentleman over here is insisting that you should just bring about a syringe, that's even bigger, to kill the dogs, to poison them, and they will be okay. But then we go straight to the kids. And with the kids, could you turn up the volume a little bit over here? My manager is asking who do you prefer, Batman, Superman? So the biggest thing is that she's saying over here that would Superman ever hurt an animal? Would Batman ever hurt an animal? So we try to connect with what the kids know. And that's how we go about bringing about the change. So when you also share this on social media, there are so many more kids who are watching and so many parents who are watching. So that's how people end up making a connection. This is how our program has become very large. Finally, after 8 years, corporate sponsors started coming on board. The fact that we still don't have any animal welfare laws or any laws for humane dog population control, but corporate sponsors like pharmaceuticals have come on board, so you can lower the volume a little bit. These are all corporate sponsors who've come on board to join us in our quest to neuter and vaccinate dogs, to stop the culling and to switch it around by actually neutering and vaccinating them. So again, this is a really big thing to be like, what? Pharmaceutical companies are now trying to do this? So this is changing the mindsets in so many people's mind that they are now endorsing us, which is really wonderful. This is actually my first ever equine medical camp, which I had 10 years ago. I was a crazy young girl who stood on the main road of Karachi, and I just asked people to bring their donkeys to me. And I said, I want to give them free medical treatment. And then after that, they all thought I was crazy. And I was like, okay, I just kept going back, kept going back, kept going back. And in 10 years, not just do we give them medical treatment, we also give them carts. We give them harnesses. So as I learned about things, I learned more and more as to how we could help. And so we make these customized carts, because otherwise they get broken carts, the donkey owners, that actually essentially break even more when they are using them. These they get on loans. Then they have to pay back for the broken cart, they have to pay back the loan. Of course, they're going to be frustrated. You can't help an animal in a third world country like Pakistan unless you help the person attached to the animal. That's just a given. So even if we hate the abuse on donkeys, I was like, hang on, how do we get to the root of this problem? Screaming and shouting doesn't make a difference. You can't yell at someone and preach to them. You have to show by example. So we started with free medical camps, and as we got to know the donkey owners more and more and more, we then went on to actually providing them with free harnesses and free carts, if the only criteria being you cannot hurt your donkey, you need to stop slitting their nostrils, none of that stuff is going to fly if you're going to be part of our program. So we've essentially taken over, and I'm trying to fill in all the gaps where government institutions should be, but we are the only ones who are actually doing it at the moment. We share such stories because it is important to share. You can press play over here as well. This is the donkey owner who, again, one of my young girls is talking to convince him to give up his donkey, who someone poured acid into his mouth. And we finally convinced him to give us the donkey. And then again, when we share this on social media, people actually are shocked at the level of things that we are the only ones who share such stories. So when they see the kind of abuse, then people realize, okay, there is a problem. And the biggest thing that we do over here is we try to connect people to the animal. So the most important thing is we talk in the point of view of an animal. So, for example, we found this donkey, and we show the entire journey, again, from the moment we spot the donkey until the donkey heals and is all right, and that's how we go about it. We find human stories that are so baffling. This is the youngest donkey owner. She's only 8 years old, and she supports her family of 16 people. this is what poverty, it's such a complex issue. So we also try to not do what people do with humans versus animals. I don't understand that concept, nor does it make sense. We got to work with everyone together. So we try to help her. We try to help her family. And we gave her a harness and a cart. She didn't want to go to school. She had a terrible experience at school, and she has a very, very hard life. So we make sure her brothers and sisters go to schools, but she's adamant on having a donkey cart and making money. So we're slowly just trying to work with her and her family as well to make sure she's safe and that she has better prospects for the future. I'm going to have to speed it up a little bit. So we have a lot of people in Pakistan with special needs. No one pays attention to them. There's no union, there's no support, there's no anything like that to actually help them. So say there's a donkey owner with polio who can't actually drive a regular cart. So what he does is that we actually customize carts that are lower, donkey carts that are lower that we can give the donkey owners. So this is how we engage people. This is how actually donkey owners have now become our ambassadors, where they bring people like this gentleman to us and say, could you help him too? And this is the wonderful way our work has spread. In the last 10 years that we see very little abuse anymore in the areas that we work in Karachi on donkeys. We go to these animal markets as well, which are absolute hellholes in Pakistan that are on the main roads and no one pays attention to them. So we try to work with the government, we try to work with them to at least, if we can't stop the markets right now, at least try to make the conditions of the markets better, which is just so hard to do. We try making flyers that are just visual because people can't read. So we try to get kids to see them because if the adults don't, maybe the kids over there are going to learn eventually. We actually broke into these markets during COVID lockdown because we were the first ones to be like, hang on, these animals have been locked up in these shops for 10 days of lockdown. What's happening with them? Which became like viral news all over the world. So this is how we went about handling this situation. I'm going to have to run through this, but we have lots of interesting videos. This is a video I'd love for you to look at where we're trying to talk about the term kutti. Kutti in English is a bitch. So the fact that we use the word bitch and the negative way we use it, and just how that impacts the actual dogs, that they are so misunderstood because of it. So we try to make very deep and insightful videos accordingly. Quickly, the elections of 2018. There was a donkey who was beaten because they had put the name of an opposing party on the donkey and they had beaten him black and blue. And this again became viral news all over the world because we not just rescued the donkey, we wrote a very impactful statement about the fact that it doesn't matter who comes into power if we're going to treat the most vulnerable and voiceless so badly. We reach all sorts of people. Our sanctuary, and we go to them as well. We work with kids. Again, I'm a therapist, so it works well. I try to do therapy with this. We go to rehabilitation facilities for children who've been through drug addiction and sexual violence. We go to special need homes. We go to deaf schools. We invite everyone back to our sanctuary. So we make it a point that we make this a very, it's sort of a very inclusive effort where now a lot of these schools have their own animal shelters inside. That was really never heard of in Pakistan. We also were the first to have a massive event for all of Karachi, so about 8,000 people, where we've had this 2 years in a row now called ACF Picnic, where we have all these fun, immersive experiences where you can feel like what it's like to be an animal without actually in a good way, like in a fun way. So we make it a point to have things like this as well. Finally, we have a storybook that I think has been going around. There was a lovely author who wrote a storybook on us. We have these superhero capes and kids, and these kids superheroes that we make it an entire program with different schools. And then we're trying to change, we have t-shirts going around as well, I believe. We're trying to change the idea of the word stray. So we changed it about someone who's cool, someone who's not about fitting into the typical norm. So my whole idea was, let's brand the word stray. Because if you brand the word stray to make it cool, people are going to pay attention. So it's through these kinds of projects we actually have brought about such a difference. I made a film. I've started writing films as well. So I've got the biggest actresses and people in Pakistan to become a part of our vision. And this is a film between animal abuse and domestic violence, which again, they're subtitled in English. I'd love for you to visit our page to see. I wrote this film. It's actually based on, it's a little bit of an autobiography. So I'd love for you to go watch that as well. This is how I started with a Facebook page, very long ago, 10 years ago, where I would just write from the point of view of an animal. And this is how we slowly built up steam to over 200,000 people on all our social media platforms. Our current impact at the moment, I'd like for you to see this. We have about 16,000 animals who've been rescued. The future is obviously about more empathy. We vaccinated all of these dogs just by ourselves, my little team of 8 people. We have gone about doing this ourselves at the moment. We've treated, so this is all just us trying to prove to the government that this is something that needs to be done. And just through that, a decade later, the Supreme Court of Pakistan has now given us that opportunity to create a brief of animal rights laws across the world to finally bring dog management laws in Pakistan. And with that, I've even attached animal rights laws from marine life all the way to wildlife. And I'm hoping this is the beginning of something big for Pakistan where we can actually bring animal rights to the country. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayesha.